a break in protocol because of significance of today, of parastattal organizations, chairmen, local government councils, members of the Alliance for Democracy and members of APP, PDP are present, gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be with you at this momentous occasion, marking the formal signing of both the Supplementary Appropriation Law of 1999 and the Local Government Administration Law of 1999. That's the first bill in a democratic environment. We should give ourselves a big hand. Today's memorable event, which we are all privileged to witness, represents a significant landmark in the life of our administration, and indeed, our collective efforts to enthrone an enduring democratic culture in our nation. The ceremony marks the signing of the first two laws approved by the State House of Assembly after painstaking consideration of their bills by the Honorable Speaker and members of the House. I therefore seize this opportunity to congratulate them for a job well done and wish them more success in their noble service to the people of Lagos State. As indicated in my introductory remark, this ceremony marked the formal signing of two laws simultaneously. The first of which is the Supplementary Appropriation Budget. The law provides essentially additional funding for the successful implementation of the policies and programs of our great party, the Alliance for Democracy, aimed at general improvement of quality of life of the citizenry of Lagos State. In this address, I shall endeavor to review the performance of 1999 budget from January to May, as well as appraise you the intent of our government as articulated in 1999 supplementary budget, which is about to be signed into law. Ordinary revenue. In the first 5 months of 1999, a total amount of 4.2 billion was collected as revenue, representing a percentage performance of 92% of the expected pro rata amount of 4.5 billion. The performance of ordinary revenue, though impressive, could have been better. It is envisaged that for the rest of the year, a total sum of 10 billion will be collected as revenue. This will be made up of 6.7 billion being the balance expected to be collected by December 1999 and a supplementary revenue of 3.644 billion as approved by the State House of Assembly. Recurrent expenditure. The total provision for the recurrent expenditure in the 1999 budget was 10.709 billion, made up as follows. Personnel costs, 4.289 billion. Overhead costs, 6.420 billion. The pro rata expected expenditure of January to May amounted to 4.462 billion, out of which an amount of 4.69 billion was already expended, representing a percentage performance of 105%. The detailed explanation of recurrent expenditure is given under its component parts as follows. Personnel costs, whereas the prorated provision for payment of salaries, allowances, and pension for January to May is only 1.781 billion. A total of 1.95 billion, representing 109%, was expended. The overhead expenditure is due to the implementation of the recent 3,500 minimum wage. We are the first state to do so, and it's at the same rate of the federal government. A total sum of 1.035 billion has been approved as the supplementary provision for personnel costs. This is made up of an additional 0.935 billion to cover increase necessitated by the new minimum wage mentioned above, as well as 100 million provided as pension sinking fund overhead cost. Out of a total provision of 6.42 billion made for overhead costs in 1999 budget, a sum of 2.744 had actually been expended by the end of May, leaving a balance of 3.6. An amount of 265 million has been approved as supplementary estimate for overhead costs. The increase is made up of 100 million for subvention to parastatal organizations to enable them meet the payment of 3,500 minimum wage. It has been extended to all parastatals now. 100 million to cater for additional overhead expenses for all ministries, offices, and bureaus for the rest of the year. 55 million for the State House of Assembly, and 10 million for the judiciary. On capital expenditure, a sum of 3.49 billion was initially appropriated as capital expenditure in the approved 1999 budget before we took over. This is being supplemented with a provision of 2.3 billion, thus bringing the total revised 1999 capital budget to 5.8 billion. From this provision, concerted effort will be made to implement the cardinal programs of our great party in the areas of education, health, provision of basic infrastructure facilities such as water, electricity, and environmental development. On education, in consonance with our promise to the electorate, our government will pay serious attention to the provision of free education and qualitative education. This accounts for the allocation of 18% of the total capital supplementary budget to the education subsector alone. The 415 million allocated to the subsector will be utilized for the refurbishment of school buildings, provision of furniture, and other infrastructure facilities, as well as technical and laboratory fixtures and fittings. On health, this administration believes in this adage that health is wealth. We are therefore committed to ensuring that primary health care facilities are made available to majority of our people, particularly those who cannot afford private engagements. To ensure that special attention will also be paid to widen the scope of the national program of immunization. The war against HIV/AIDS will be intensified through adequate funding, while primary health care delivery will be vigorously pursued. To achieve this objective, an additional sum of 150 million naira has been appropriated to the health sector for the rest of this year. Housing. It is recognized that one of the most serious problems encountered by the citizens of the state is accommodation. Government is therefore determined to help in finding solutions to this problem. In this regard, 10% of total supplementary budget is allocated to the housing sector for the rest of the year. As you are aware, this government has not only commenced work on the completion of the abandoned Jubilee housing scheme, such as the Alliance Estate in Lekki, which was commissioned early this month. We have also embarked on the construction of new ones. This includes the Millennium Housing Scheme at Ogudu, Palmfield Estate at Okwaba. A sum of 200 million has been appropriated as supplementary provision for housing for the rest of the year. On electricity, in view of the concentration of industrial and commercial activities in this state, provision of uninterrupted electricity supply is considered very crucial to the well-being of the state, both ordinarily and economically. Consequently, our administration has entered into a working agreement with a leading American energy company, Enron, for the generation of regular electricity. Already, many other state governments have experienced the desire to follow the example of Lagos State by entering into similar arrangements with private power. Before I leave that area, I read in the Financial Times and the Tribune recently the fact that Enron has won the best energy company of the year by the state of Texas and 6 other states. They have also won $10 billion contract for the American government to execute power generation in its rural independent areas in Alaska. So that you will be aware that such a company, without asking Lagos State to bring anything, to bring $800 million investment to this country without any recourse, is a big and laudable achievement. We will continue to do that. Water supply. Since assumption in office, this government has taken a number of measures designed to ensure a significant improvement in the hitherto epileptic supply of water in the state. Such measures include: A, the reorganization of Lagos State Water Corporation in order to have a better motivated and dedicated workforce. 2, repair of faulty water distribution system as the 1.6 million diameter raw water transmission system at Matogo. C, addressing issue of power supply. D, encouraging the regulation of water supply by inviting private sector participation to address the demand deficit problem without recourse to the government's subvention. Other measures will also be taken to ensure a long-term improvement in the supply of drinkable pipe-borne water to all the nook and crannies of the state. To give you a little bit of insight into that, you should monitor the news. We got the water improved so much so that the only problem that we have today, if your few experience of few weeks ago, is to note that in any integrated system, no matter how much one sector of it, how well they try, it is always very, very difficult if the other side are failing. There are three segments of needed uninterrupted water supply. Energy, electricity is main focus. To pull water from the dam itself and damage raw water from the stream, you need constant uninterrupted electricity. Ordinary generator cannot do it. Constant, it must not stop. Each time the voltage drops from NEPA, we have a problem. Second stage is the filtration and water treatment process. That one, the dams must run continuously, non-stop. There's a special transformer for that. Once there's a drop in voltage or termination of electricity, they go through full cycle to be able to reactivate it. Then the third stage is when water is pumped and distributed through the pipe network that reach your neighborhood and your houses. That area, you need constant, uninterrupted 24 hours water supply, electricity supply. We bought transformers for NEPA. We did everything possible to work, a dedicated line arrangement. Still, when the voltage drops, and you know what that in any mechanical sense, once you stop the distribution for 30 minutes, you will have only almost 48 hours to bleed them through when you have power back. That is the major problem. The electricity supply, I believe the only solution, at least to meet the natural demand, other than the rest of our water project scheme, is to have an independent power supply to our water source, and we are going to do that. On lands, with regard to the repossession of title lands unjustly taken over by the federal government, the state government is currently addressing the issue. In view of the fact that this administration believes in cooperation with the citizenry and corporate entity to move the economy of the state forward, private developers will be encouraged to participate in land development in the state. But with you and the support of the government and the support of the federal government, Decree 52 is being challenged, and it will be a dead issue. Lagos State and the rest of states will have the right of keeping their land. It's a constitutional right that we will not give up on. Security. As you are aware, the security outfit called Operation Sweep has been replaced with Rapid Response Squad with the exit of the military administration. In order to improve the performance of the squad and in view of the change in administration, government has provided and will continue to provide necessary logistics and financial support for the operation of the squad. Such assistance is necessary because the security of life and property is a necessity, and it's necessary for political stability, socio-economic progress, and economic growth for the state. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the second law to be signed this occasion is the one you've waited for too long. And that is why I make it the last masquerade on this speech. That is the Local Government Administration Law of 1999. The law sets out primarily to provide guidelines for the structure and effective administrative process at the grassroots level. As we are aware, local government administration in Nigeria dates back to the colonial era. In effect, the local government system is as old as Nigeria. However, with the democratic system of government firmly entrenched, there is a need to streamline the administrative process of government to conform with the democratic norms, thereby making local government and responsive to the yearning and aspiration of the greatest number of our citizenry at the local government level. It is in fulfillment of this objective that the bill on local government administration was presented to the Lagos State House of Assembly for necessary recommendation and approval. The bill has been examined thoroughly in all its ramifications and subsequently passed by the Honorable House for signing into law. The highlight of the law, which is segmented into 6 parts, provides guidelines for the function and responsibility of local government. It also spells out in very clear terms the structure, modalities, and procedures for the effective management of local government affairs. Some of the salient aspects of the law put the tenure of a local government chairman at 3 years from the date he took oath of office. The law also provides for the appointment of local government secretary by the chairman, while the appointee shall cease to hold office at the expiration of the tenure of office of the chairman. The law also set a limit to the number of local government supervisors that could be appointed for a local government and the mode of making such appointments. At this juncture, I enjoin the local government functionary to obtain copies of this law for their education, guidance, in the discharge of their assigned functions and responsibilities. I also appeal to the politicians and other interest groups at the grassroots level to take cognizance of the provision of this law in your interaction with local government councils. In conclusions, fellow citizens of Lagos State, the 2 laws about to be signed are meant to enhance the well-being of our people and make life more meaningful for all. Towards this end, I will solicit your support and cooperation for the state and local government in our joint efforts to make Lagos State and lead Lagos State to the greater heights. I want to, at this stage, call everyone here present to pay a special compliment and congratulate our members of the House of Assembly for the manner in which these 2 laws were handled. The third aspect of the local government will be, the second aspect of the local government will be in process shortly. And they have committed their time, day and night, to give you the first bill. And this is first product of their manufacturing democratic chambers. I want to congratulate. Even though in some areas they give me hell, will see. You will see how much they allocate to themselves on the appropriation budget. Nevertheless, they were not greedy, and they were very, very fair and very committed to the affairs of the state. I congratulate them. To all the local governments, chairman here present, I know the last 3 months has been very difficult, uncertainty, and much you have been working. I've been to some of these local government quietly. I've been to some of them to commission projects. I've paid a midnight visit to some of those local governments. I realized a lot of you did not forget the electorate and the responsibility given to you to serve the state. I recognize that you have, without the guideline, been painstakingly working towards the achievement of those goals. I want to commend you the sort of commitment and sense of unity that we have shown, that we are in this project of governance together. We cannot satisfy everybody, and we cannot satisfy every member of our party, but we should satisfy the people of Lagos State in general. And that should be our determination as this law goes into force. The legacy for which you want to leave behind will rest on you, and please, you remember how much evaporated from your accounts before you assume office. I know you started from a very, very difficult time. But some of you should pay a visit to some of those primary schools and see how the future of Lagos State is being produced, and recognize the need to pay attention to the structure and the classroom in those areas. They are our children, we must not let them down. It's now my honor to sign the Supplementary Appropriation Law of 1999 and the Local Government Administration Law of 1999 for the benefit of our people and humanity. Thank you very much. God bless you.